You know that feeling when you're standing in a group and you finally say something, maybe a joke or a really good point, and nothing happens? No one looks at you. The conversation just keeps moving right over you, like you're a ghost or a very polite piece of furniture. It's that sting in your chest that says, "Cool, I guess I'll just go back to thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner then." It happens in meetings, at parties, even in your own friend group. And honestly, it's exhausting. You start to wonder if you're just fundamentally boring, or if there's some secret social frequency everyone else is tuned into that you just can't find. Well, here's the good news. You aren't invisible. You're just suffering from a lack of social salience. And today, we're going to fix that. We're going to look at the psychology of why people get ignored, and the 3 specific, slightly uncomfortable things you need to do to make sure that never happens again. Because being ignored isn't just annoying. It's actually biologically painful. Back in 2003, a psychologist named Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA did a study using fMRI scans. She found that when people are socially excluded, even in a dumb computer game, the brain lights up in the exact same spots as it does when you experience physical pain. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between "my friends are ignoring me" and "I just stubbed my toe on the coffee table." So, if you feel like crap when people don't listen to you, it's not because you're sensitive. It's because your brain thinks you're being hunted by a predator and your tribe has abandoned you. The first reason you're being ignored is something I call the permission loop. Most people who feel ignored are actually waiting for a signal that it's their turn to speak. They wait for a gap in the conversation. They wait for someone to look at them and ask, "What do you think, Dave?" But here's the cold, hard truth of group dynamics. In a high-energy social setting, nobody is giving out invitations. If you wait for permission to exist, people will assume you don't have anything to say. This is tied to something called expectancy theory. If you act like you expect to be interrupted, people will interrupt you. If you speak with a questioning inflection at the end of your sentences, you know that thing where everything sounds like a question, you are signaling to the group that you aren't even sure about your own words. And if you aren't sure, why should they be? Step 1 to fixing this? Stop asking for permission. This doesn't mean you should start screaming over people like a toddler. It means you need to master the body language bridge. Before you speak, lean in, physically. If you're sitting, lean forward. If you're standing, shift your weight. This is a non-verbal pre-signal that you are about to enter the space. It primes the group to look at you before you even open your mouth. Then, when you do speak, start with a vocal anchor. Use a slightly louder, lower-pitched first word to grab the floor. Instead of, I think maybe, try, look, or actually, or even just, so. It's like a social speed bump. It forces them to slow down and acknowledge you're there. The second reason you're being ignored is because you might be too safe. There's this thing called the Pratfall Effect, discovered by Elliot Aronson in 1966. He found that people who are perceived as perfect or too polished are actually less likable and more likely to be ignored than people who make small, relatable mistakes. If you're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that you only say the safe thing, you become background noise. Safe is boring. Safe is a beige wall. No one talks to a beige wall. Think about the people who get the most attention in your life. They usually have takes. They have opinions. They're willing to say, "I actually think that movie was garbage," even if everyone else loved it. I'm not saying you should be a contrarian jerk just for the sake of it. I'm saying you need to show some social edge. Stop being the person who just agrees with everything. Use the pivot technique. When someone says something, don't just say, "Yeah, totally." Say, "Yeah, and that actually reminds me of," and then pivot to a personal story or a specific insight. Give them something to react to. If you give people 100% agreement, the conversation dies. If you give them a perspective, the conversation lives. And now, the third and most important reason you're being ignored. The boundary problem. This is the hardest one to hear, but it's the most transformative. People ignore you because you've taught them that it's okay to ignore you. If someone interrupts you and you immediately stop talking and look at the floor, you just taught them that your words have no value. If you're telling a story and someone starts checking their phone and you just keep talking to the top of their head, you just taught them that your time isn't worth their attention. We've all been there. You're halfway through a sentence, someone cuts in, and you just vanish. It feels like the polite thing to do, right? Oh, I don't want to be rude. But there's a difference between being polite and being a doormat. Next time someone interrupts you, try this. Don't get angry. Don't shout. Just keep talking for 3 more words. Usually the interrupter will realize they stepped on you and stop. If they don't, you can use the hold and release. Simply say, "Hang on, let me just finish this thought," with a small smile. The moment you set a boundary around your own space, your social value skyrockets. People don't respect people who are nice to the point of invisibility. They respect people who value their own presence. Look, I get it. This stuff feels fake at first. You might feel like you're trying too hard or being aggressive, but let's be real. Staying invisible isn't working for you. It's hurting your career, it's hurting your dating life, and it's slowly eroding your self-esteem. You aren't being fake by taking up space. You're just finally acting like you belong in the room, because you do. The spotlight effect tells us that we think everyone is judging us way more than they actually are. In reality, most people are so worried about themselves that they aren't even thinking about you. They aren't ignoring you because they hate you. They're ignoring you because they're busy being the main character in their own heads. So, your job is to make it easy for them to notice you. Here is your challenge for the next 24 hours. I want you to do 1 high salience action. In your next meeting or coffee catch-up, don't wait for the gap. Use the body language bridge, lean in, and use a vocal anchor to share one opinion that isn't just, "I agree." See what happens. See how it feels to finally be heard. Because the world doesn't need more people who are polite and invisible. It needs you to show up. So stop being the ghost in the room. Lean in. Speak up. And for heaven's sake, stop asking for permission to exist. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.